And
welcome to Workspace Wednesday. These are the updates from January, as were announced by Google for the end user. If you were able to make the updates yesterday, James did a great job along with Phil, and that'll get shared out with by Chris later in the week if you haven't yet got it. But it is in the monthly updates chat if you're a member of that as well. I popped it in there yesterday once it's been processed. So we're going to go through each of the updates. First one, this is a repeat from last month, just for those people who do need to use a screen reader. Google are going to get rid of the HTML version of Gmail. It's going to go sometime after February this year, so there's only a month left before it starts to disappear. And the link will take you to a guide to help you with that transition for that particular person, to get them used to using the new screen reader with the standard version of Gmail, if that's what they need. Just because it was getting closer, I thought it's worth leaving that in, just to make you aware that that's still on course. Nothing's changed from as far as I'm aware. This one I think is a great idea. I'm really pleased this has arrived. These are sharing windows. I'm sure you're familiar with these. These have happened, you've been using these a great deal. You can now start to type the name of a Google Calendar event in the sharing and share it directly with an actual calendar event. So of course you can share with individuals, of course you can share with groups still, that's never changed. But now you should be able to share. So if you've got, Workspace Wednesday next month and I decide there's a document I want to share with you all, I can just start to type in that calendar event title that should appear on the list. I select it, and then I can decide what level of access to give you, whether you're an editor, commenter, or view only. And you'll also notice in the second picture on the right, I've also got the option to add it to the calendar event. That will mean that that document will be automatically inserted in the description of that calendar event at the bottom left when you're putting it all in there. I'm sure you're familiar with that kind of part of functionality. So that I think is a great idea. It's no longer just sharing to individuals. You can actually share to all the people. And you've still got the old route where if you go into the event and click on the paperclip and find the document and attach it, you kind of still get that right hand prompt about how do you want to share it with them. But it kind of means if you're in the document, you can do it from directly within the document, which I think is really handy. Just a little bit of a fractional time saving in the kind of workflow to get that document to that group. So that's great. This is also really useful, I think. If you've been recording stuff, for students to use, you recorded part of your lesson and you wanted to give them access to a particular section. In the past, if the video was in your Google Drive, you could share the Google Drive video document with them, but you couldn't share a specific location. And in the share button on the top right hand corner, you click the little drop down arrow and you've got the option to copy a link to that particular time. And then you would share that with the people. So they would actually go directly to that specific point in the video, rather than you saying here's the video, it's 12 minutes 20. You can take them straight to that particular point. So it's just, it's no great deal for you to share. It's the same share process, just makes it a little bit more convenient for the receiver of that shared link. So that is great. I really think that's a really good idea. This one I wasn't even aware of. It's for those of you who do use BigQuery. So if you've got a load of sheets connected to BigQuery, there are about 23 functions that work in BigQuery, or the working sheets that reference BigQuery. And in the past, the help information that you can see popping up under the question mark was about the function within Google Sheets, but it behaves slightly differently when the function is connected to BigQuery. So it should now, if you've got BigQuery connections into the sheet, you should now know that, and the help files that pop up there will look different. It'll give you the precise information that you need to think about in order to make it behave and link to that BigQuery that you've got set up in the background. So it should be context aware, I suppose is the phrase, isn't it? So if it's not connected, it'll be standard help kind of window. If it is connected to BigQuery, it will actually offer you help and advice appropriate to that particular link, to that particular BigQuery instance. So that is fantastic, clever that it does that. Not something I'm very familiar with. I'm sure James and Cisco, our technicians, might be aware of BigQuery, but It seems to me perfectly sensible to make the help bit exactly right for that particular need at that time. So that's a great thing that it does that. Those of you who are using encrypted documents, it's not something we've used here particularly at C Learning, but you might well have a need to do that if it's, you know, as for whatever, you know, some help files about something particularly sensitive to your organization, you might want to encrypt it. There is a process. Those of you who are not familiar with it, you've got to basically choose an encryption partner, which you've got to add into your admin panel, and then you can then give people the option to encrypt their documents. And it's just another level of security to that document. And until this announcement arrived, apparently I didn't realize you couldn't, but you couldn't actually use comments and assign comments to particular people like you can on a standard Google Doc, whereas that will now be available. Worth just noting, those of you who are new, if you look at the bottom left hand corner of this slide, you'll notice I've got Education Standard and Education Plus only. So that functionality is not available to Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and it's not available to the Fundamentals version of Google Workspace, only those two paid editions. I am trying to learn Italian. I mentioned that at the very beginning. We've had a few weeks off because our tutor has been away, and we've been trying to do some practice sessions. And I've got a colleague on the same course who's got a Microsoft Office account, and I think the university that he works for has disabled access to all the Google stuff, which is a real nuisance. Which means he couldn't get into the meets very easily. In the end, he actually created himself a personal Gmail account, which he didn't particularly want to do because he didn't have a need. But it now looks like with this functionality on his mobile, he could just join the meet straight away because he doesn't need to have logged into a Google account at all or any other kind of account. So that's great that you can just join using the 10-digit code at the end of the meet link information, which is really great. There is another way to do that as well. I'll put a link in at the end if someone could remind me. You can actually join a Google Meet more than once using the present option. g.co/present, and then you put the 10-letter code in without the dashes, and it means a second device can then join, but you just join as a viewer. I've done it in the past when I've done my presentation on the presentation one, g.co/present, and use the other one to run the other bits of a session online. So that's available already there, but this one will be available without having to sign into a Google account, which is great. If you look at your web interface on the Google Meet now in the bottom right hand corner and start to apply these settings, you'll see that it's just the interface is now changed. You've got backgrounds, filters, and appearance all in the same place there, so you can start to have a play. I don't know if we've got any other filters and appearance things turned on. They might not be turned on for our because this is a business account. It's a bit frivolous. It's not necessarily what we would need, but you can actually add multiple effects in there if you want to. It's got a brand new interface. The studio lighting on the web and the studio sound options to adjust the lighting automatically and adjust the sound automatically are available for Duet AI subscriptions only, but they are available. So if you've got Duet AI and you've got those functionalities, so if you're doing, you know, Google Meets out to the public, you know, doing live stream and things, the fact that you can do better quality sound and that you can also do better quality lighting is a good thing. Just means that you've got a better final product when it eventually goes out as a live stream and so on and so forth. So, but like I say, two of those with the asterisks there available to Duet AI, and the other two, I didn't check about the rest. I think the rest is generally available. I will double check that and amend this slide, so when you get the slide deck from Chris, it'll be up to date if it is just some specific paid versions. I don't think it is. So this one I think is good. I, rightly or wrongly, I have a habit of wanting to subscribe to things fully in the intention that I'm going to spend my time reading these really useful emails from all these really useful companies, and find that I often don't. So in the end, I give it an unsubscribe from it. And what you will get without having to open the email, you'll get the unsubscribe button as an option. You know where you got the drop down to reply to an email where it's a calendar invite, you got the RSVP button. When you hover over that email, those 5 buttons on the right appear in that first picture at the top of the screen, and you can unsubscribe, which is great. You'll also get inside the email on the mobile, which is the bottom right-hand picture. So you've got a quick way to unsubscribe. The unsubscribe button was there, but it was in the 3 dots, whereas now it'll be surfaced on the top screen. So you'll be able to unsubscribe there. And if you report spam, it will say, would you really mean spam, or are you just sick of receiving these emails and you just want it to stop? So you've got the option, because don't forget, if you report something, if you subscribe to a newsletter and have forgotten you've done it and then decide to report it as spam, you affect the way mail clients view the security of that particular company. So you're not doing them any favors, really, if it's not really spam and it's just you've forgotten you subscribe to a newsletter. So it's better to unsubscribe than it is to clearly, if it's spam, report it as spam. I'm not saying that, but if you think there might just be a newsletter you forgot you'd subscribed to, it's better to choose unsubscribe, and that will pop up when you report something as spam. It'll say, well, do you mean spam or do you mean unsubscribe? Just to remind you, so we get a better, more accurate reference to what that particular issue is with that particular email. So that's good. The fact that that whole unsubscribe thing is now much easier and surfaces in many more places is good for everyone. I think makes it managing those things better. So closed caption support in Google Meet, another 31 languages. I think you'll probably find beta next to these should you want them. These are just the closed captions to assign to the Meet itself. So I've assigned English to this one, for example. They're not about the translate options. I think there's some news coming along with the option, the translate tools. And I was reading yesterday that I think sometime soon, in the next 6-ish months, I think, and they're thinking about moving the translate functionality inside a Google Meet into the Duet AI subscription. So if you're on a paid version that currently has that translate tool like we have on ours, that I think will go, and it will go to Duet AI. So if you are working multinationally across many countries and across many languages, that translate tool might be essential to you. So you might need to think about how you actually get access to that again within Google Meet. So lots more languages that you can choose from as the core language, but the translate tool, there's changes coming up. When more information appears, I'll update you on that hopefully next month. But just to be aware that the translate part of closed captions, I think, is about to change based on the bit that I've read. I only read it yesterday, so I need to do more research before I find out. Okay, I'm aware that we've got some new people this week, and I did say welcome. You will notice that Estonian is now on the list, and that's a new addition. So about time. It's taken them a while, but it's there now, so that's good. A good few months ago now, we announced that you can make a chat space announcement only. So if you wanted like a newsletter, where you wanted all the staff to be able to read, but you don't necessarily want them to be having huge conversations because you've got a large staff of 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 and more staff. You don't necessarily want a kind of a collaboration space. You just want to let them know, here are the news items for this week for our organization. You had the option when you were doing the setup of making them into announcements only. And they've just tidied up that interface when you come to create a new space that you can set, whether it's a collaboration space where people can discuss and respond to each other's comments, or whether you want just to share updates. So you've got that option. And the second option is that at the top, when you give it a name, if the name is already taken, it will tell you now. So it will stop you making a new chat space of the same name. It will also do that same thing if you try and change the name of an existing chat space into the name of a new, as the name of a chat space that already exists. It will also tell you there that also won't be allowed. That process doesn't work on space names that you use if you're using the chat API to create them. So if you're actually using it, you're creating all your chat spaces programmatically and using the APIs, then that won't, these new functions won't be affected. That chat API won't be affected by these new functions, but that won't be the case beyond June the 3rd. So if you do these as an annual thing at the beginning of a school term, in sort of August, September time, then this time next year, you can use chat API and it will not allow you to do duplicates. You can set whether it's a collaboration or announcements and so on and so forth. So the functionality will be there for your next school year, but it isn't there if you're using the APIs at the moment. That's that one. So I don't know if you've clocked this, but when you've got collaborators in doc sheets and slides, if you clicked on the person in the document, you would jump to where they were in that site, and it will follow them around until you click on them again, and it unticks that as an option. And that's now been added in to Google Sites. So if you are collaborating in real time on a Google site and you want to see where that person is, if you click on their icon in the top right hand corner, it will take you to that person, even if they're on a different page to the page that you're on. So if they're on a third page and you're on the first, it will jump to that person on that page where they are, and it will follow them until such time as you unclick them and you are no longer following them. So if you are, and there are times when we collaborate in real time on documents, but mostly we tend to be on the documents at different times. So not such an issue for us. But if you've got students in the classroom, for example, working together, and Ahmad says to Billy, can you come and look at my page and see what you think? Rather than working out what page it is, they can just click on Ahmed's icon and it will take them to that particular point where that student is working. So that, I think, is a great piece of functionality inside Google Sites now. It's been in doc sheets and slides for a while. It's now also in Sites as well. So that's a great new addition. So we use appointment scheduling in Google Calendar a lot. It's a really, really fantastic tool for us. As soon as it came, I'd used appointment slots in the past, which is the old version, and that's still available. But it was seriously clunky and not really very easy to use and not very attractive and things. So you've got a whole load of other things. So you can add, in the process of creating the appointment scheduler, you can add in co-hosts. So those people will also be included in all the invitations and things, which is really great. And you can add up to 20 of those, should you want to. It will also look at secondary calendars, and it makes creating the calendar more useful, because it will check across a number of calendars. So if you wanted to all go, so for example, we sell Soundtrap, and I've got a Soundtrap demo. If I created a separate calendar called Soundtrap, I could now specify that all those appointments in there, instead of going to my primary calendar, which is what it's set at now, I can elect for it to go to that secondary calendar rather than the first one, which is great. If you've got delegated access of your Gmail, that didn't extend to appointment schedulers until now. So when this functionality is updated in all our accounts, whoever you've delegated access to, they will also get delegated access to your appointment schedules. That means that they can send them out, they can amend them, they can also delete them. Just to be aware of that. If you've got someone, if you're looking to have a PA that manages your calendar for you, and they will have access to your appointment schedulers. They can also create them for you on your behalf. So, and then you can actually decide whether to tick a calendar for availability or untick it. I'm not quite certain on what the functionality of that might be, the fact that you could untick a calendar. So you're building an appointment scheduler, reading a calendar and then unticking it afterwards. I can't, the functionality is not on our domain yet. I need to work through it to understand what they think. I didn't understand the sentence that they gave me that explained it, but you can do that. If you've been able to check multiple calendars before, so if James and I need to be in the meeting together, I've been able to tick myself and his calendar, but the fact that you can uncheck some and not check those, I don't quite understand. I suppose if you wanted something to take priority, if you said, look, I've got 2 meetings on that day, but if you book that day, I can I'll let you bump those 2 meetings out and I'll move those 2 meetings somewhere else. I suppose you could use it for that, but I think we'll have to wait and see. I'll come back to it next month when the functionality is on our domain and I've had a chance to have a play and work out precisely how it's going to work. I tried this today actually before you all came in, and I think it's because there was no one else in the meeting. But when you are in a meeting, I don't know if you've noticed this in a Google Meet, if there's been chat before you arrive, you haven't never been able to see that chat. So if I, for example, started a session when I was doing some training and I wanted you to have a resource, every time new people arrive, I've got to paste the link to that resource back into the chat. Whereas now, once this has arrived, I could post the link to that message or to that document, and I can pin that, and that will be at the top. And everyone who sees that, whether they've arrived early or late, will still be able to see the pinned messages. So it means I'm going to keep posting things over and over. And I'm going to try it in a minute, just to see if it's pinning. But when it was just me on this meet earlier, before you all arrived, it didn't let me do it. But I presume that's because I was the only person in there. But that's really useful, because I don't know how many times I've had to repost something because someone's just not very late, just a minute late, and they can't see the earlier chat. So it's a real nuisance. And previously as well, if you left, so if your internet signal dropped and you came back, all the chat would have disappeared. Yeah, but pinned messages now will remain, so you'll be able to get to the key ones, should you need to. Okay. And what I don't know, because it hasn't on ours, didn't work this morning when I tried it, is whether you're all able to pin. So if anyone wants to have a quick go at popping in the message and trying to pin it, we can have a look at that after I finish, maybe at the end now. So this is massive. It's Education Plus only, but in Google Classroom now. So your head of English or your head of Estonian or your head of maths or whoever it happens to be can create a Google Classroom as a template for all the school to use. Yeah, they would, or the department to use rather. They then send it to the department. Once the department arrives, they have all the tasks and all the documents attached to it, all there for them to use. And when the person that receives the link gets it, they can select it all, or they can just tick particular bits. So they don't even need to have to select it all. So you've got a huge amount of scope to share the classwork with your colleagues and to have that consistency, to know that all the classes are having the same documentation, etc., etc. I think that's really powerful to be able to do that. So that, I think, is great, and that should be hopefully generally available, possibly now, but certainly soon. And that's Education Plus only. So Google's, at the bottom of this, you'll notice I put in Google's material design principles website at the bottom there. These, you might have noticed over the last 18 months that all the interfaces of the Google apps are all changing. It's an even cleaner interface. There's a commonality across them all. The design looks the same. The buttons look the same. It's taken them a while to get there, but bit by bit they're getting there. And they've just changed the toggle button on Google Drive, so it looks the same as the toggle button in the top right hand corner of Google Calendar. Google Calendar, you've got the calendar and the tasks button. You can toggle between the two. In this, it's from a list view to the grid view. But it's just that it's common, a common look to everything. And it just makes, because when everything looks the same, it makes the navigation easier, doesn't it? Because you know what to expect, you know where to look for these things, and so on and so forth. So I will pop that link in the chat in a minute once I've finished. Okay, so Innovator program. Dave and I got very, very emotional about our Innovator experience. It was an absolutely phenomenal experience. I would highly recommend it to anyone at all who's thinking about, well, I've got my trainer, I've got my coach, what's next? The Innovator program is absolutely phenomenal. And the window to apply for the Chicago one, which is in English, is now open until the 19th of March. So it's worth having a little think about that. There is one coming, I think they only put Amsterdam is the other one that's in English. That window's not open until the 1st of April. No, it won't be a joke, it will be real. And there is a virtual one, which means it's all online, so you don't meet face to face. And the virtual ones were also brilliant. We've met some other people on those that can't speak highly enough of it. It's a phenomenal experience. But you've got to decide for yourself which one would be best suited to you. You can, of course, go to Seoul if you want to, but it's rather further to travel. I think Chicago's probably a little bit cheaper than Seoul. I don't know. And who knows? Probably about the same distance. But just to be aware that these windows are open, and the link on this slide deck will take you to the Innovator page with all the dates for all the academies. If there's one in another language that you would rather, I think there's one in Dutch. I can't remember what the language is now. No, I haven't got it in my head. Wrong one. So that's that. So those are the updates for January. Up next update is not the Wednesday, the 7th of February. It's the 6th of March, if I remember rightly. Those are the updates from today. Any questions about any of those? Any thoughts? Did PIN work?
No, it didn't work for me. I don't know whether that's because it's not hit our domain yet, but or whether it's because you're the owner of the call and it's
Oh, right,
a limitation.
let me try and just put a link in there. Let me see
I think it's really useful for links. It's really useful for putting at the beginning of a call that it's being recorded, because that tends to be the same question that you see pinging up again and again for late arrivals. What I'd love to see next is that kind of the export feature for that, so that people can actually take away the messages, because at the moment when the meeting ends, the messages die, don't they?
They do. I mean, if you're recording, you've always, I mean, actually you can do a transcript without the recording, don't forget. So that gives you the text of the meeting, but it doesn't give you the in-call messages. But if you record, you do get the in-call messages. It gives you those as a document, so you've got them that way. You would hope
you get a meeting summary, don't you, at the end of a meeting, which says what time everybody joined and left. It would be lovely if you could get the in-call messages alongside that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm sure you do get in-call. I'm sure, isn't that one of the things you get when you record it?
Not sure whether you do or not.
I'm pretty sure if you record a meet,
we'll find out, won't we, when you stop recording?
Yeah, that's true. I'll send over all the things that I get. Record a video meeting. Here we go. I'm sure.
I think it's always useful to have those chat messages. I mean, most of my meetings aren't recorded. They're just ad hoc things between a few colleagues. So just to be able to then have those messages saved somewhere would be really useful.
Yeah.
And I know that you can make this happen, Paul, because you're a man of great influence.
Absolutely, of course. I wish.
Just on Tony. Tony's gone. That's it. He's gone.
Oh, that's funny. A man of great influence. Yeah, that's
I'm a log end in my own lunchtime.
There we go. That's the gravestone sorted out, isn't it? Which hopefully won't be needed for many years, but
yeah.
Here lies Paul Farrell, a man of great influence.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that meet recording link was good as well, Paul. You know, like just for yesterday's when we had the speaker on yesterday, Phil, where you could actually put another link into the. I'm not saying this is extra work for you to do, but it might be. Where I could then send another link out when I send out my updates, saying if you want to get straight into Phil's, conversation on his app sheets, here's a link for this. So I guess from a teaching perspective as well, it kind of works a little bit like Google's thing where they're bringing in the questions throughout a YouTube video, where the specific points and that. It's kind of the same idea, I guess, where you go into a specific area within the recording, which is really useful.
You can actually do that in YouTube videos as well already. Actually, so I'll show you how to do that.
Yeah, you mentioned about doing a meet more than once as well, didn't you? To remind you, is that while you were
no? If you left the meet and came back, then all the comments from previous would have gone, but the pinned ones will remain.
Right. Okay.
Like Dave said, if we said this is being recorded, that and you pin that at the top, and when they join, they get told, but people don't necessarily always see that. So it's good to have it belt and braces in more than one place. So it's those kinds of things that you can. But I've just checked. Yeah, that message I've just pinned and just posted, which is Google's material design website. I can't pin it, so I thought I had it because when I first logged on, it said any pinned messages will be seen by everyone whenever they join the meeting, but I've not been able to pin. So I'm not quite sure whether I've not turned something on.
I'd like to mention something about the shared classwork, Paul,
Yeah.
if I may, because we've been on the beta program for that. And it is really, really good. But for me, unless they fixed it, and I haven't checked it since it's gone general availability, it had one major flaw, which was what I wanted to do is I wanted to create my own template classroom with my materials in it and then share that to other of my classrooms, if you see what I mean. And you can't do that. You can't share to another classroom that you're a teacher in. So I could share mine with you, for example, and you could share it with me. But if I had 10 classrooms, I can't share it to those 10 classrooms, which I did report back because we were part of the beta program, and I said it was a major problem. But hopefully they're going to fix it. If not now, they will fix it soon.
Yeah.
So that is an issue.
Other things you can share, other functions. Oh, yeah, it was the grading sessions. You know, when you could set your 3 terms as grading sessions. When you set those up, you had the option to copy those to your own classes, didn't you?
Yeah, and you can do it with practice sets and
yeah,
what we're calling video sets, even though it's not, but we thought it was quite a good name.
You know, yeah, that whole thing is. I mean, I suppose you've got copy, haven't you? But
yeah,
that
you
you'll
have.
do that 10 times, and it's a manual process, and everything goes into the draft, and you might not necessarily want that.
Yeah, and also when you copy, it creates copies of all the material as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is okay. So if you copy it 10 times, you've got 10 versions of that presentation. You can't alter one and then it, links to all of them, which is a bit annoying. But
I suspect they probably need still to do that because the templates do not edit folder that you've got in your Google Classroom folders.
Yeah.
There's one of those once you've gone to copy for each student. There's one of those in every single classroom's folders, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that it's beyond the wit of Google to create a folder. Of course, I understand that, but I suppose I think their model is still going to make copies of everything for the other classes. But that's that's for them to do.
Yeah. Did you also cover classroom analytics? Because I was a bit late.
I think we've done classroom analytics. The last month of the month before. Yeah. But it's now live, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Because that's the other thing.
Have you got access to your demo GFE?
Probably, but
because as a trainer you get access to demogfe.com.
Yeah, sure.
Which gives you demos, and they've just announced this week that one of the new updates in there is the analytics. They've actually added in fake analytics, so you can show people what it's like.
Oh yeah, that's okay. I can show them live classrooms, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But it sounds like I'm moaning, but it's a great step forward. Classroom analytics is brilliant. I love it, but it's also useless because if you look at it at the domain level, you can't do anything. All it does is it gives you a general overlay kind of thing. It says mine here. It says I've got 10,000 students. Well, I can't search for a particular student. There's no search functionality. I can't drop it into a CSV file. I can't do anything with it. So it's a bit annoying, but it's a huge step forward. And I was also going to ask you about the record slideshows as well.
Yeah.
So I've got slides here, and I can record my slides. Brilliant feature, love it, fantastic. But some presentations the record button appears in, some presentations it does not appear in, and I don't know why.
All right.
It's really strange, and I just wondered if anyone else had seen that. So I've just opened up a slide now, and the record button isn't there.
It's not because that was created before that function existed, is it? And the ones that created since it existed will have that option.
Yeah, I thought that. But if I do, yes, so here I did slides.new, the record button isn't there. Am I doing something stupid? Quite possibly. Thinking about it.
Create an extra slide. Create one more slide.
Create one more slide. Yep, no, it's not there. Nope.
Yeah. So I've just checked with an old document I know I made a long time ago, and the record option is there. So it's
It is
not
there.
about,
So it is there on an old document.
yeah, on an old document. So it's not about age.
Okay.
I don't think.
Hmm.
And it was, made on the 3rd of August 2021. Yeah, so it's an old document. It's not that. When you say slide.new and nothing comes up.
Yeah, slides.new, nothing comes up. But if I go to a particular presentation, a particular slide somewhere down here,
It's not one that's imported as was a PowerPoint originally.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, my slide.new, it's the record buttons come up.
Well, it
It was one of the first things that appeared. It was like grayed out until it was fully loaded.
Yeah.
It appeared straight away. Have you tried refreshing that slide deck?
Yeah, there you go. So if I've got on another slide deck, I've got the record button now.
I know it sounds that, but have you got multiple accounts on that device?
No, it's all one account.
Single account. They're both on the same account.
Yeah, I mean, what we could do is, if at some point, if it's helpful, get on a call and I can share my screen. I can show you.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it needs to go to Google. And I suspect that might well be what I'd say at the end of the meeting. That doesn't seem like it's a two documents created brand new, two brand new slide decks. One doesn't do it. One offers it. One doesn't. There's something not happening there, isn't there?
Yeah, unless there's a setting somewhere or something. I just wondered. And there's no admin setting for that either, is there?
No. It's like if you've got the account attached, then it just appears.
Because that's my other question: is would students have access to this feature? And I thought that they would, because
have they got a license assigned to them?
Well, they're in the domain, aren't they? So.
But is it a fundamentals license, or is it an education?
No, we're on Education Plus here, aren't we? You know.
But have you assigned the licenses to the students?
Well, I thought it assigned to that because Education Plus. I thought it was for the whole domain. Or am I being silly?
It depends how you've got it set up. You can set it up so that it automatically applies the licenses to certain OUs, or you can have it set up so that you do it manually. So it's worth double checking that. It doesn't explain your experience though, Tony, of on some and not on others.
Yeah, I'll have to check that with the IT team to see what they've done with the domain. This is one of the reasons why we need that training.
Tony.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, definitely me. Yeah. Yeah, just doesn't like me. I get it.
Tony, it's not hidden behind the themes menu, is it, when you do a slides.new?
Yeah, I thought that, but no, it's not there.
Okay, because I've just done it and thought, oh, it's not showed up on mine either.
It's behind the themes box. Yeah. I thought that.
Zoom out.
Zoom out.
Control minus.
Okay. No.
Yeah, just in case the taskbar wasn't big enough to display all the items.
Yeah.
So so we don't know, Tony, that, but I think I would report on that because it's erratic behavior, isn't it? Like say one slide deck works and the one doesn't. That's not right.
It is erratic, but it's consistent. If you see, it's consistently erratic. See what I mean?
Does it really alternate then? One gets the record button, one doesn't. One gets the record button, one doesn't. Is it that consistent?
No, I've only got one presentation that I can record it, and I can't record anything else.
Oh, right, okay.
It's really strange. Oh well, you know.
I wonder whether it's just not fully hit the domain yet or something. Sometimes
I did wonder. Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah, I wondered about that. So I think I'm going to give it a few more days to see, just to make sure.
I was just looking to see. There's nothing in the menus, is there, to select record? It's only on that taskbar. Because I was wondering whether it just wasn't displaying on there, but there's nothing on there. So I get the record option on slides.new and on this slide. You know, there's a slides file here that was 2013 that was created, and the record options on there as well. So
it's just me then.
So it may just be your domain, which may point to the fact that it just needs time to settle.
Yeah, I'll just leave it for a few days and then we'll come to it.
Yeah. If I want to, sorry, Tony, I want to jump in if I may and ask Sirit. Sirit, welcome to Workspace Wednesday. Was that useful for you? And was I speaking okay? Did you understand? Maybe she's gone. Sirit's from Estonia. So I was just keen to make sure that I wasn't talking too fast. I did try and... Hello, there you are.
Yeah, here I am. It was very interesting, and I got some useful ideas from here.
Excellent. Good. Will you be coming to join us again?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Next time.
If you can't make it, of course, it's fine. Chris will always send out the slide deck and the recording. So, you know, it's like some days you'll be too busy. So don't feel you have to attend, but we will always be very welcome when you can.
Thanks. No, I'm going.
Sarah,
Bye.
Sarah, I was just going to say as well, yeah, I'll also include the link to our Spaces group, our sort of Workspace Spaces group as well. Paul, Dave, Tony, you may well be on there now. I don't know.
Yeah,
you
no, I'm on.
Yeah, lots of really useful, you know, features and like-minded people on there. So if you've got any queries or questions, there's usually somebody on there who can answer those. So
lots of really people in there. And,
yeah,
and Tony are in there too.
Absolutely, yeah. There'll be a link sent on that as well. Theo, I can send you the link for that as well if you'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember being part of it. Is that
Oh,
new?
Theo, I've not. Have I failed to include you?
You've not been doing your job, Chris.
What have you got against me?
I've got nothing against you. Know that, Theo. Come on. I always give you good prizes. You know that.
Should be the first one on the list.
What I'll do, Theo, is I'll if you're okay, I'll copy you into the group, and then you just obviously have to accept, and then you'll be in. And if you get any queries or questions or anything like that, there's, like Paul said there, or at least he kind of angled it towards the smarter people than me in that group, so they'll be able to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
Adam, are you in that group? I can't remember.
I don't think I am, Paul. No.
Oh, I'll get you in there as well.
Oh,
I'll send you.
Adam's from IT as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll send you the link for that.
The conclusion is Chris isn't doing his job very well. I think that's the important thing to note here.
Yeah, it probably isn't. But in Chris's defence with this particular one, we've added lots and lots of people of late. So it's
I was going to say, Paul, most of the people I've added of late, and possibly Tony, I was the person who added them in. So yeah, I've just missed a few. I just need to.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You missed everyone on this call. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So out of the 6 or 7 people, I've missed 3 of those. So it's not very good hit rate, is it? At the moment?
Too busy selling things.
Is there an evaluation form for this?
There must be. Yeah. I think. You've both
ready.
Yeah, you both qualified now. You've both qualified. That's fine.
I think there is an evaluation form, but there's only got one choice. It's excellent, isn't it?
You can access it. It's pinned to the top of the in-call messages. That's how you get to the evaluation.
I don't get what's the problem with that. That's how my feedback forms works my entire working life.
Yeah.
Just tick the box and press submit. I always tell people, I say, don't worry about what you put in the feedback form, because if I don't like it, I usually change it anyway.
Exactly. Paul, just a quick one. What's this chat on the certified trainers email alias about the explore button going? I'm not aware of it disappearing. Are you?
Explore button in what?
There's a chat going on the certified trainers email group.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that the explore button in docs and slides and sheets is going. And I'm thinking, or has gone even. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think so. It's still here for me. And surely not, because it's one of the most useful buttons around. So I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah, clearly you're not aware of it either.
No, I'm not aware of it going.
It's
kind of,
quite an
the
old
button
thing,
itself
isn't it?
has gone, and it's now in a menu, isn't it?
Yes, it's in the menu. Yeah,
Tools
which annoyed me, and I told Google at Bet that's annoying. I said, bring back the button.
I never understood
But
why
there's
they
a
moved
chat that they're saying that it's going from the menu as well on their email, which is really odd.
Is this because they want people to go to Duet AI?
I was just going to say it's going to coincide with that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.